The ones who seem the strongest, the ones who are always there, always steady, often carry a loneliness that no one else sees. Have you ever wondered why the people who give the most often receive the least support in return? Society praises strength. We celebrate independence, resilience, and self-sufficiency. But somewhere along the way, we forget that even the strongest among us have emotional needs. We assume that if someone seems put together, if they can handle everything, then they must not need help, comfort, or understanding. But strength is not the absence of need. And for those who are seen as strong, a silent expectation forms: be okay, always. Be the reliable one, the one who never breaks, never falters. Over time, this expectation becomes a part of their identity. They start to believe that they must never show weakness, not for themselves, and certainly not for others. They become the steady pillar in everyone's life. The friend who listens patiently, the sibling who holds the family together, the partner who offers calm when storms rise. But with every crisis they manage, every burden they quietly carry, their own needs sink deeper and deeper below the surface. They convince themselves that asking for help would be selfish, that admitting to loneliness, fear, or exhaustion would let others down. And so they stay silent. They keep smiling. They keep carrying, all while their own heart grows heavier with the weight of unspoken struggles. The world sees their calm and mistakes it for invincibility. No one stops to ask if they're tired. No one thinks to wonder if they too sometimes wish they had someone to lean on. Their strength becomes their prison. They wear their steadiness like armor, but underneath they are just as human, just as vulnerable, just as in need of love and understanding as anyone else. And deep down, what they long for is not admiration. It's not applause. It's not being called inspirational or amazing for how much they endure. It's connection. It's to be seen without their armor, to be held without needing to be strong. To hear someone say, "You don't always have to carry it all. You don't have to be everything for everyone. You're allowed to be tired. You're allowed to be human." Because true strength is not about enduring everything alone. It's about allowing yourself to be known, even in your moments of doubt, even in your moments of need. And maybe the strongest ones among us are the ones who, despite the loneliness, despite the silent battles, still choose love, still show up, still give, without ever asking for anything in return. But they deserve more. They deserve to be held the way they hold others. They deserve to rest without guilt. They deserve to be seen, not just as strong, but as beautifully, fully human. Strength, as we often define it, is deeply misunderstood. True strength is not about always being fine, always standing tall, or always having the answers. It's about continuing even when your heart is heavy. It's about showing up, even when you feel invisible. And yet the world rarely stops to ask, how are you really doing? Strong people are expected to carry on without pause. They are expected to manage their own pain quietly without disturbing others. And when they do show even a crack in their armor, it often makes people uncomfortable, because we are so used to leaning on them that we forget they too are allowed to lean. This expectation becomes internalized. Strong people tell themselves, I can't show weakness. I have to be the stable one. I have to be the one others can depend on. And so they build walls. Walls made not out of pride, but out of necessity. Walls that say, I'm fine, even when they're breaking inside. Walls that protect them from the fear of letting someone down, or worse, from being a burden. But the walls that protect also isolate. Behind every calm smile is someone longing for real connection. Behind every steady hand is someone who sometimes wishes someone else would take the lead, even just for a little while. Strong people are not asking for someone to save them. They don't need grand gestures or dramatic rescues. They don't want to be pitied or seen as broken. What they crave is something much simpler, much deeper. A safe space. A space where they don't have to be perfect. A space where their value is not tied to how much they can endure. A space where they are loved not for their strength, but for their soul. It's the quiet moments that matter most. The simple, sincere acts of noticing. The friend who checks in without waiting to be asked. The partner who says, you can rest now. The family member who hugs them a little tighter and says, You're allowed to feel everything. Because strength doesn't mean never needing support. It doesn't mean never feeling overwhelmed. It means carrying on, even when you do. It means being willing to open your heart, even when the world expects you to keep it hidden away. And when strong people are finally given permission to be vulnerable, when they are met not with judgment but with compassion, something beautiful happens. The armor begins to crack, not in weakness, but in relief. The walls come down, not in defeat, but in trust. In those moments, true connection is born, the kind that says, "You are seen, you are valued," not because you're invincible, but because you're human. Strong people deserve that kind of love, we all do. The loneliness strong people carry often doesn't shout, it whispers. It hides behind polite smiles and conversations turned quickly back to others. It hides behind the words, "I'm okay," spoken so convincingly that no one thinks to ask again. Caretakers by nature, strong people make it easy for everyone else to forget they too need care. They're the ones organizing, supporting, checking in. They remember birthdays, notice small changes, lift others without being asked. And because they seem to have it all together, others rarely realize when they're the ones silently falling apart. Asking for help feels foreign to them, almost like betraying the role they've lived for so long. It feels like saying, "I'm not enough." It feels like admitting weakness in a world that has rewarded them for being unshakable. And so, they continue to carry it all, alone. They carry the weight of their own struggles while making space for everyone else's burdens too. They convince themselves that they're fine, that their needs are smaller, less urgent, less important. But inside, the ache grows, because what they really want isn't someone to solve all their problems. It isn't even someone to fix the heaviness they feel. What they want is something far simpler. Someone to see them, someone to sit quietly beside them, someone to acknowledge, without needing explanation, that even strong people get tired. When you look closely at the strong people in your life, you'll notice small signs. Maybe it's the delay in their smile. Maybe it's the way they're slower to respond to messages. Maybe it's the silence where there used to be laughter. These signs aren't dramatic. They're subtle, easy to miss if you're not paying attention. But if you do notice, don't wait for them to explain. Don't wait for them to ask for help. Instead, show up, gently, quietly, consistently. Offer your presence without pressure. Offer your listening without judgment. Offer your care without making them feel like they've failed by needing it. Create a space where their armor isn't necessary, where they don't have to be the strong one all the time, where they are valued not for how much they give, but simply because they exist. Tell them it's okay to be tired. Tell them it's okay to lean on someone else for once. Remind them that resting doesn't erase their strength, it renews it. Because when a strong person feels safe enough to be vulnerable, they don't become weaker, they become more whole. They reconnect with parts of themselves they've kept hidden for too long, and they remember that their worth was never tied to how much they could endure without breaking. True strength isn't about carrying everything alone. It's about knowing when to reach out. It's about allowing yourself to be human, messy, real, and still deserving of love. And for the ones who have carried everyone else for so long, maybe the greatest gift we can offer is the simple, powerful reminder. You don't have to carry it all alone anymore. The truth is, we all need each other more than we sometimes like to admit. No matter how strong, how independent, how resilient someone appears, they too long for a hand to hold. A voice that says, "I see you." A space where they can finally exhale without fear. Strength is beautiful, but it's not meant to be a cage. And when we make strength the price of love, we rob even the strongest souls of the tenderness they deserve. If you have a strong person in your life, someone who always shows up, who never asks for anything, who wears their calm like a second skin, don't assume they don't need you. Be the one who notices. Be the one who stays. Be the one who says, "You don't have to be the strong one with me." Sometimes love means reaching out even when everything looks fine on the surface. It means offering your presence without waiting for an invitation. It means reminding them that their value isn't tied to how much they carry, how much they hide, or how much they give away. Their value is in who they are, without conditions, without expectations. Creating safe spaces for strong people means showing up with patience. It means understanding that they might resist at first, not because they don't need you, but because they've taught themselves not to need anyone. It means offering without demanding. It means listening without fixing. It means standing quietly beside them when they can't find the words. And when they finally trust you enough to lay down their armor, honor that moment. Don't rush them. Don't minimize their feelings. Just be there. Sometimes, being fully present is the greatest act of love you can offer. Remind them that rest is not a failure, that asking for help is not weakness, that letting someone else carry part of the weight is not defeat. It's wisdom to all the strong ones out there. It's okay to be tired. It's okay to need. It's okay to lean. You were never meant to carry the world on your shoulders alone. Your strength is not measured by how much you endure in silence. It's measured by your willingness to love, to hope, to trust, even when life is heavy. You are not alone. You are seen, valued, and loved, not because of what you do, but because of who you are. And to everyone who knows a strong soul, reach out, check in, love them gently. Because even the strongest hearts need a place to rest. And sometimes the smallest act of kindness, the quiet presence, the soft "I'm here," can be the thing that helps them heal the most. Strength isn't about carrying everything alone. Strength is knowing you're worthy of being carried too. There's something incredibly sacred about allowing someone to lay down their burdens, about saying without words, "You don't have to perform strength here. You don't have to hide." In a world that often demands perfection, productivity, and endless resilience, the spaces where we can simply be human, raw, imperfect, and vulnerable, become rare and precious. And for the ones who have spent their lives being the strong one, finding that space can feel like breathing for the first time in a long time. Maybe it's time we redefined what it means to be strong. Maybe strength isn't about standing tall no matter what. Maybe it's about daring to fall apart sometimes and trusting that we will still be loved. Maybe true strength is reaching out a trembling hand and letting someone hold it. Maybe it's saying, "I can't do this alone," and knowing that doesn't make us less. It makes us real. Imagine if we all gave each other that permission. Imagine if strength and softness weren't opposites but partners. Imagine if vulnerability wasn't seen as weakness, but as the gateway to deeper connection, deeper trust, deeper love. Every strong soul who has carried others without complaint deserves to feel that kind of love in return. Not the kind that waits for them to ask, not the kind that only shows up when it's convenient, but the kind that sees, feels, and responds, quietly, steadily, unconditionally. If you know someone who always seems to have it together, ask yourself, when was the last time you asked them how they were? Really? When was the last time you offered your presence without expecting anything in return? When was the last time you reminded them that they too deserve softness, rest, and care? Sometimes it takes just one moment of genuine kindness to break through years of silent endurance. Sometimes one heartfelt, "You don't have to be strong right now," can lift a weight they didn't even realize they were carrying alone. And if you're the strong one listening to this, know this. You don't have to wait for someone else to offer. You are allowed to need. You are allowed to ask. You are allowed to let yourself be seen. The ones who love you will not think less of you. They will honor your honesty, your humanity, your bravery in choosing connection over isolation. Strength isn't about never needing anyone. Strength is about daring to be real with the people who have earned the right to see you without your armor. It's about trusting that you are lovable not just when you're strong, but always. So today, let's promise each other this. We will look beyond the surface. We will listen for the unspoken struggles. We will remind the strongest among us that they too are worthy of softness, understanding, and unconditional love. Because even the brightest stars need the night to shine, and even the strongest hearts need a place to rest.